Hey Sagittarius, welcome to your Venus in retrograde reading, where we'll take a peek at what you might expect over the next couple of months during this time period. So we're going to start first with checking in on the energy that's surrounding this reading for you. And we have boundaries. Where do you need to establish better boundaries? So for my Saggies out there, I feel like a lot of you all have sort of grown impatient with the people who are around you. And I think to a certain extent yourself as well, where it's like people have been leaning on you entirely too much, that you all have sort of been stretched to the limit. And I don't think that this is, just one person or one situation. It feels as though this has been over an extended time period where you're constantly going out of your way for others. And at a certain point, it's like, you know what? I'm about tired of this. And I also think that for a lot of my Sagittariuses out there, that if you have gotten to the point where you have sort of established your own boundaries and what you want and what you're willing to do for other people and what you're not willing, that you may have some habitual oversteppers in your vicinity, where it's like no matter what type of fence you put up, it's like they are just absolutely determined. They are determined to try and hop right over. And you're like, if you don't leave me alone, like, why won't you just go away? Just go away. And so I think that there's sort of two camps out there, but we'll see whose message comes through the strongest on this reading, because I do feel like some of you are getting taken advantage of a little bit, and others of you are trying to figure out what you need to do to make your boundaries stronger so that people don't continually try to test you. So let's get into some tarot and see what other messages Spirit has for you. And we're going to start first by looking at what this retrograde has in store for you. So right out the gate, we have the King of Swords clarified by the Seven of Wands in reverse. Okay, so I almost feel like this is more dealing with people who have the issue with habitual oversteppers. So the King of Swords is a very intellectual energy, very, very strong energy. They can be extraordinarily outspoken when they get tired of fighting. And so this is what I'm seeing, especially with the Seven of Wands in reverse. When we have it upright, this person is in a very defensive mode, right? He has all these little sticks poking at him and he's fighting. His face is frustrated. It's a little twisted up, but he's struggling, right? He's pushing back. And it feels like there's going to be something, especially in your relationships with other people. This could be a colleague. This could be an acquaintance or a friend of yours in a relationship, that someone is continually pushing your boundaries and you keep pushing back, you keep fighting against it. And it feels like very much like you're trying not to go DEFCON 1 about the entire thing, but it's kind of like, look, I'm not a killer, but don't push me. And it's like you keep getting pushed, and the King of Swords is going to come out. So that's what it feels like, that something is coming to a head with someone who just does not know or refuses to sort of stay in their own lane. Now, an interruption that this retrograde is likely going to cause for you, we have the High Priestess and we also have the Ten of Cups in reverse. So I think that for a lot of my Sagittarius collective, you all were kind of floating along just fine. You were sort of trusting yourself and trusting your intuition. And something flipped. I don't think it was necessarily in you. I think it's with the people that are around you that is bringing you a lot of frustration. It's like I was in my happy place, and you're trusting yourself to do the right thing. But here we have this disruptive person that just will not stay on their own path. They keep drifting over into yours. And I think that initially you may have thought it was harmless, But the more that it keeps happening, it's like your spidey senses are tingling and saying, you know what, at this point, I really feel like this is deliberate. I think that this is being done on purpose. And it seems like a combination where what's happening is not just for the benefit of the other person, but also intentionally for your detriment. So let's say if you're at work and you're like trying to manage a project or something, and there's a coworker who just keeps like trying to infuse themselves into what it is that you're doing. The first couple of times it's like, oh, they're trying to be helpful. It's a little bit innocent. But then you're starting to notice it more and more. You're starting to notice little things that they do and say where it's like, hold up. Not only are you trying to make yourself look good, you're trying to make me look bad. Like, this is not okay. And so I think that that's causing a fair amount of angst, of stress, of unhappiness on your part. So what's an important shift that is going to occur during the Venus retrograde? We have the Empress. Now, the Empress is a very nurturing type of energy. You can see that she's surrounded by these lush fields. She has a crown of stars on. Like, everything is just wonderful and decadent. And she's in full control of her emotions. So it also can represent the birth or the creation of something new. And I think that in your case, Sagittarius, that there's going to be something that happens where you have an idea that is different from anything that you've done before. It can be a new way to approach this person. It can be you doing something so different and so outside of the box and so inspired that it's going to completely shut down this other person, where it's like, yeah, there is absolutely no mistaking that you are in your lane and you are doing really well, and this person has zero to do with it. They have no place in any of your brilliance. So I think that's for one. So let's see if we can clarify that a little bit more and see what other shift is happening during this here retrograde. And we have the Knight of Pentacles. So Saggies, I know that some of you could have been a little bit emotional in the past, being more reactive than responsive when these types of issues come up. But I think with the Knight of Pentacles, another shift that you're going to see is that you're not going to flip out over what this person is doing. Yes, it's irritating. Yes, it's frustrating. Yes, it's creating stress in your life. But you're not just going to walk up and like backhand and be like, listen, leave me alone. I think that you are going to be a lot more grounded and a lot more thoughtful as you move forward. It seems as though, and this is not applicable to everyone, but I think that for a lot of you, there's not going to be a direct confrontation with this person. Meaning there's, it feels as though you are sort of wielding your sword and you are being a lot more strategic and thoughtful about how you're going to eliminate this person from your space and sort of get them to stand down. So whereas you may have been, a little bit too emotional about things in the past, it very much feels like you are going to rely on your ability to be strategic to get rid of this problem. Now, something to be mindful of as you embark on this path, on this journey, we have the Two of Pentacles. And so I think that this very much ties into this shift that's happening, making sure that you stay balanced, right? I think that in some instances, the Two of Pentacles can represent juggling, sort of going back and forth between two things. But I do think that, as you see this man sort of dancing, he's on one foot, he's maintaining his balance as he, sort of juggles these two pentacles back and forth. So making sure that you don't step outside of yourself as you enforce your boundaries in a different way that doesn't, include a potential assault charge. And being patient. I think that, again, your prior self may have, been in a hurry to see some sort of change. You may have these emotional reactions that you previously had may have caused you to rush into, different things, trying to find a solution. This is going to require a little bit of, chess, not checkers, right? So being thoughtful about your next move. And so as you are coming up with this new idea, this new strategy, you'll be planting seeds. And admittedly, you'll be dealing with this person for a little while. Like, they're just not going to up and disappear one day. I think they're going to keep pushing until you do something that's so extraordinary that it just completely shuts them down. So maintain yourself, Saggies. Maintain yourself. Keep planting those seeds. Keep being strategic. And I think that this person will, at some point, realize that they are not going to be able to knock you off of your throne and make themselves look better. Now, how is this going to have an impact on your journey going forward? Look, we have the Ace of Cups. This is the beginnings of happiness, right? So whatever stress you were experiencing throughout this process, understand that it's going to be cleared out. And with this new idea, this new approach that you're giving birth to, it's going to give you a fresh start in that happiness and that emotional fulfillment. So all of this chaos, this frustration, this strife, this conflict, it's going to die down. It is. Everything seems like it's going to be resolved in your favor, Saggies. And look, we have the Page of Pentacles. So really starting to create that fresh foundation for yourself where it's like, okay, got a different approach, got a different attitude, got a different strategy. We're going to take this and see how it works going forward. So again, I think that this is a bit of a new process for a lot of my Saggies out there, where it's like more head, less heart, which is interesting because I'm pretty sure that Leo was like more heart, less head. But for you guys, this is just going to be a different way of asserting yourself and establishing your boundaries in a way that's not necessarily confrontational with someone else, but more internal, making yourself so bulletproof that whoever this is around you is not even going to try it anymore. So that's what I got for my Saggies. Hang in there, like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I'll see you on the next one.